Hello there. How you guys all doing out there? It's Darren and Joe with another edition of Real Estate Reality from Urban Hillsides Real Estate. Thanks for joining us today and later. You can always pop into this whenever you'd like at your leisure. So if you like what we're doing, please like it, follow it, subscribe to it. Give us all the support you can. We appreciate it. Darren, how you doing out there, man?
Doing good, Joe. It's been a busy week.
Well, I was going to say it's a busy day today.
Yeah.
We're actually doing this a little bit early just to make room for some other things we need to do in real estate. So, so we'll make this concise and quick, but we'll get the things done. Those things being topic today. I entitled it Push Comes to Shove. It's about development and living and housing in Los Angeles and how it's changing. An LA Times article that we saw. We're going to go through solds in the last 7 days. We're going to look at actives in the last 7 days. We're going to look at mortgage rates, see what's changed there. And I think that's about it. Yeah, okay. All right, well, great. Let's go ahead and move to, congratulations. We got that Tropico Way leased in, 5 days or less?
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing.
It was fast. Yes.
For an impressive per month. My goodness, 7,500. So I just had Jimmy actually. He's ringing the bell on that one. So
Cool.
calling up the neighbors. All right. Well, let's go ahead and gosh, man, I'm trying to remember our order. What do we do next normally?
We usually have our disclaimer next, Joe.
Oh, that's right. Of course. Thank you for that, man. Let me do that. I did jump it up 50% speed, so let's see how that works.
Nice.
Yeah. I guess just get this stupid thing done. Okay.
Joe Cloninger are real estate agents. Darren Hubert and Joe Cloninger are real estate agents at Avenue 8 under the Urban Hillsides brand. All opinions expressed by Urban Hillsides or guests on this video are solely their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Avenue 8. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Urban Hillsides as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of Urban Hillsides team's opinions. This video is for informational purposes only.
Okay, wise words. Wise words. There we go.
Love that. See, now we can go with the masculine voice. If we speed it up, it'll sound feminine. Keep having fun with it.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and look real quick at mortgage rates. Oh, boy. Here we are. Let me go ahead and share it. Let's see. Share screen. Okay. All right. Well, the number that we're all looking for here, 30-year mortgage rate right now is 7.20%. Probably the highest it's been since, the highest it's been since, gosh, man, back in, 7.29 was the last high. That was in November of 22.
Yeah, last year. Yep.
What are your observations?
Gosh, and they're still talking about maybe more. So I don't know what to say. It's going to just slow the market a little further. We did get a text from one of our mortgage lenders who was yesterday.
Scott,
came up with this little chart of 45% of people have 3% or less. And then there's like another 20% that are 4% or less, and just the volume of people with super low rates, and I think there's fewer properties coming to market as the rates push higher. It disincentivizes those people from moving, that's for sure. But
the numbers were pretty astounding when he mapped it out like that.
Yeah. It was an interesting chart. Cool.
All right, so 7.2 in terms of the total. You can see 30-year there, 15-year 6.60, 30-year jumbo 7.23. That changed. 5-1 arm 7.05, 30-year FHA 6.92, 30-year VA 6.95, and the trend is going negative, so significantly weaker, at least for today. I guess that Fitch rating did a number on several markets, didn't it?
Yeah, for the U.S. debt, I know, from AAA to AA plus, it hurt the overall market tremendously. There was a real positive momentum over the past week and a half, ever since the last rate hike, that actually moved pretty quickly into a positive momentum in the securities industry, and but boy, that turned quickly. Yeah, a couple days ago.
Yep. All right, so there's our quick look at that. We will now move on to our topic. Let me go ahead and go there. And later on, we will look at the Northeast LA market and give you a better view of what's happening here locally. So stay tuned.
While you pull that up, Joe, I'll just pop in with, we talk about being busy. A lot of what we're doing right now is some property prep. So we will have a nice home coming up on Benton Way in Silver Lake. It's a large 5-bedroom house, but definitely upside available. Probably about 2 to 3 weeks, and then also a similar sized home in Studio City in a nice pocket close to Ventura Boulevard, maybe a little closer to a month. That we're also in the process of getting prepped. So if you have any interest there, let us know.
Is that how it looked today, Darren? A little bit more.
Oh, gosh. My take on construction, I might not. I am a fantastic construction supervisor. I might not be the best person doing the work every day, because I walk in and I just see chaos. And, I want it to be so much cleaner than it is. I want to kind of work room by room, but I understand why it doesn't work.
Right.
So,
is it kind of like a maze? They run into a wall. Oh, okay, let's go over here and do what we can.
Well, you're doing, like you say, you're going to do all the patching in all the rooms, right? So now you're in all the rooms doing patching. And then you're going to do all the primer in all the rooms. And then so you're in all the spaces. I feel like you can segment it a little more and be a little neater. But, hey, we paid we had at one time, I will say this, because I've been dealing with this recently, and I'm perfectly fine with who we are and what we do. We paid someone about 4 times the amount we normally would pay someone to do a job once. And this was specifically a painting job. Very technical, very detailed, in an occupied house. It was amazing experience. The guy was the most professional person I've ever dealt with on
his
on
people
the painting
too.
side.
I think they kind of took care of themselves in some way.
And and the interaction with what could have been a difficult situation. But we paid so much more for it. So, one of the things we sell is a slightly better price. There's a little bit of chaos that comes with it.
Right.
There is. And
give that space. Yeah.
it's not horrible, but there's a little bit of it. So
It's
always
not a
trying to
perfect
improve
system.
on it, though.
Yeah.
Let's do it, man.
All
Let's
right.
jump into this.
Well, great. So let's go ahead and get into the topic this week. LA Times, I think, wrongly titled this. I kind of just did the marketing title of Push Comes to Shove, but it's entitled here, "This LA developer aims to tear down homes to build apartments where the city doesn't want them." And I
the
think
LA Times has, as you read through their articles, it's just so glaringly opinionated to me, both in their titles. Man, it's just.
I don't think that title is misleading. I don't think it's about the city.
Yeah.
I think it's about the neighborhoods. So anyway, let me go ahead and roll through this. Up in arms over developer Akhilesh Jha's proposal to replace a single-family home with a 7-story apartment complex, neighbors in the Harvard Heights community turned to the city for help. The Los Angeles Planning Commission obliged, ordering Jha to scale down the project, but Jha, a 49-year-old aerospace engineer turned real estate developer, refused. Instead, when he returned to the Planning Commission months later, Jha had added an 8th floor. Wow. He came back with something that was even worse, said Brian Jett, who lives 3 doors down from the proposed development. It's mind-boggling. Jaw believed he had the law on his side, and after an hour-and-a-half hearing in February, the Planning Commission agreed. His 33-unit apartment complex was approved unanimously, and Jaw hopes to break ground within a year. "I'm offended by it," said Samantha Millman, the Planning Commission chair, "but I have no choice but to vote for it." Jaw is banking his business on moments like these. Jaw has spent the last 6 years paging through state laws and city zoning codes. His homework leads him to snap up single-family homes where he decides the law will let him build much bigger no matter what anyone else thinks. Jaw is taking advantage of an opportune moment when California politics are turning away from the slow growth mantra that has dominated in established cities and suburbs over the last half century. In the face of crushing housing affordability crisis and shortage of available homes, state lawmakers have approved more than 100 new laws in 6 years that are designed to incentivize new housing proposals and force local governments to approve them. In Los Angeles,
I want you to pause there, Joe, because I think that that alone is such the context of this article, and it is coming from top down. I think there's more resistance. The NIMBY approach and perception is so much stronger in the more strong liberal environments. So, and particularly in the suburbs adjacent to those, and that's what these are in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
But California is, the state itself is ramming this stuff down the throats of the city. There have been a lot of pushback over the years, and the state has come back with more legislation to say you cannot delay this. Not only that, now you need to expedite it, and you can't deny these.
And if you don't, we will keep going with this.
You cannot come up with more restrictive building elements, and it's exactly kind of what they said. There's been a half century of downzoning and reduction in building. And we'll come up with a summary at the end here. I think there is a basic approach. You have to choose one side or the other here, but go for it. Keep going.
So in Los Angeles, no one is pushing the envelope more than Jaw. Besides the 33-unit Harvard Heights project nestled between the 10 freeway and Koreatown, he has 2 proposals in the San Fernando Valley to tear down single-family homes and build dozens of apartments and townhomes on the sites, all efforts that never before would have stood a chance of getting built. Jaw's plans are kicking up scorn and anger. Millman, the planning commissioner, called the Harvard Heights building a middle finger to the community, a reference both to the developer's attitude toward his neighbors and the visual of an 89-foot-tall structure lording over the 1-, 2-, and 3-story buildings nearby. Neighborhood leaders in the valley worry that Jaw's projects will bring in criminals or ruin the rustic suburban character sustained over decades. While Jaw's ideas are far out of scale with nearby properties, he's also not plopping the buildings in the middle of subdivisions. The projects are all within about a half mile of a major freeway, with other multifamily housing and businesses nearby. Jaw has already won one court case vindicating his interpretation of city zoning rules and is preparing to go back for more. There will always be conflict, Jaw said, but the law is very clear. Resolve that conflict in the best interest of producing the housing. After immigrating to the United States in the 90s, Josh spent 2 decades designing rockets and planes while working for aerospace firms. He married, had a son, and as he entered middle age, decided he wanted to do something new and turned to real estate. At first, Josh wanted to buy a small apartment complex, but when he was outbid for a property in San Pedro, he thought a better way to make money was to find a house he could tear down and replace with apartments. He had absolutely no construction background. "Never ever built a tent in my life," he said. A native Hindi speaker, Jaw armed himself with an English dictionary to help with words he didn't understand while scouring property listings, laws, and zoning codes for places to build. He found the crumbling 2-story Victorian in Harvard Heights in the West Adams district for $840,000. The contentious experience galvanized him. He spent a year fighting an effort to make the home a historic landmark. We've talked about that, which would have blocked its redevelopment. After winning, he planned to build a 20-unit apartment complex under a city program that provides incentives for developers near mass transit. But after months of work, he learned that the rules requiring him to have a specifically sized driveway and a room for an electrical transformer didn't leave enough area on the lot to provide sufficiently wide ground floor commercial space. Jaw abandoned his application, but not before he had lost tens of thousands of dollars in permitting fees and design costs, he said. His plans in shambles, Jaw returned to his research and found a state law known as the density bonus. In the simplest terms, the law allows developers to build more dense housing on a lot in exchange for dedicating some of the units for low-income families. Jaw will set aside 3 of his 33 apartments for that purpose. By doing so, Jaw gets to bypass all sorts of city zoning and planning rules. The height of the building will be double what's otherwise allowed. Its width will cover nearly the entire lot, and Jaw only has to provide 20 parking spaces on the site. More important for him, the law says that as long as Jaw testifies these waivers are necessary, the city's hands are tied. The city made me go through hearing after hearing after hearing, Jaw said. Then they would sometimes put a hold on my project because they wanted me to reduce the height. They wanted me to reduce the density, but I stuck to my project and I stuck to the law. Strengthening the density bonus for developers was one of the key changes approved by state legislators in recent years to increase both affordable and overall housing production, said Ben Metcalf, managing director of UC Berkeley's Turner Center for Housing Innovation and former director of the State Department of Housing and Community Development. You can basically choose anything you don't like in the zoning rules, and you get free passes to throw it out the window, Metcalf said. It's kind of an amazing law. Like Jaw, builders across the state have sought to redesign projects by adding low-income and veteran housing, while reducing parking and yard space so they can get their projects approved, even if there's a community outcry, Metcalf said. The neighbors have no real leverage anymore, he said. Jaw's proposals have left community members apoplectic. In Woodland Hills, Jaw wants to replace a 4-bedroom home with an apartment complex of 67 units, 7 of which, because of the density bonus and related incentive programs, would be reserved for low-income disabled veterans. Miran Kalajian, vice president of Woodland Hills Warner Center Neighborhood Council, said the development would hurt the area. When you're taking single-family homes and replacing them with big apartment buildings, the residents and the tenants of those apartments are coming from different backgrounds, Kalajian said. The different backgrounds could be criminal backgrounds. It could influence our neighborhoods. Ridiculous. That might be a little too Woodland Hills there. Kalajian, a landlord himself with 7 properties around Woodland Hills, said the community has planned areas for commercial buildings and apartments. Departing from that blueprint, he said, could reduce property values and contribute to a general sense of disorder. So here's the Woodland Hills home. In Sylmar, LA's northernmost neighborhood at the foot of San Gabriel Mountains, community leaders believe Jaw's plan to build 40 townhomes on a 1-acre site with single-family home will destroy the area's bucolic atmosphere. The lot zoning requires that there's enough space for horse stables, and townhomes would prevent horse-owning residents from ever living there, said Peter Postmeyer, a member of the neighborhood council. Jaw bought a piece of property and it's zoned for horse keeping, said Postmeyer, adding that there's an extensive trail network from the zoning designation aims to protect. He's trying to change that, which is to the detriment of those living near there. Jet and other neighbors in Harvard Heights insist their opposition isn't because they're against housing, rather the specifics of Jaw's project, a 64-unit, 4-story apartment complex for low-income senior citizens opened 2 years ago, across the street with community support, they said. Jaw's design includes a 2-story above-ground parking garage that's so wide, exhaust vents sit less than 10 feet from the small apartments next door. All the negative effects of the development, plus the relatively few low-income units, don't justify its construction, Jet said. We're totally cognizant of the housing crisis and all for affordable housing, said Jet, an independent film director. But this isn't that. Metcalf of UC Berkeley's Turner Center said state lawmakers understood nearby residents might dislike newer, larger projects when they were debating the bills, but they wanted to ensure the neighbors' objections would be less likely to trump housing, especially in areas more primed for growth. Besides the senior housing, multiple other apartment complexes line the block where Jaw is proposing to build in Harvard Heights. Abutting the Woodland Hills development is a 3-story commercial structure, and there's a similarly sized apartment building 2 lots down. The Sylmar project sits on a busy street, albeit one with an equestrian crossing road sign, less than 2 blocks from the 210 freeway. In concept, this is what we're wanting to see happen on these 3 sites, Metcalf said. Some of the specifics may be pretty painful to those who live next door. Jaw's Sylmar proposal relies on the most aggressive interpretation of state regulations. Originally, he was considering using a new law that allows single-family homeowners to split their lots and build small developments on both. But then he came across a little-known provision in a different set of laws that only apply when the state has not signed off on cities' required growth plans. This provision, known as Builder's Remedy, allows developers to essentially propose constructing whatever they want, provided, again, that they set aside some of the future housing for low-income residents. In this case, it wouldn't matter that the city's zoning otherwise requires space for horse stables. The city of LA was out of compliance with the state planning law only briefly. Joe slipped in his application last June during the 2 weeks between the city council's final adoption of the blueprint and the state accepting it. No one else has proposed a builder's remedy in the city, planning officials said. And because the state now has approved LA's plan, they're no longer allowed. Joe had some help in his fights. A few years ago, he contacted Sonia Traus, one of the progenitors of the YIMBY, or Yes in My Backyard movement, who runs a legal advocacy organization that sues cities for rejecting housing projects. She agreed to fund a lawsuit against Los Angeles and Joe's effort to build in Woodland Hills. Joe won the case last October with an LA County Superior Court judge ordering the city to process his application. Ever since that first connection, YIMBY groups have mobilized behind his projects. While Joe has finished smaller developments around the city, the 3 large efforts have yet to receive their final approval. In the meantime, he rents out his single-family homes to pay the mortgages. He advertises the Woodland Hills house, which has a pool, hot tub, and 4 holes of mini golf on the property for $350 a night on Airbnb. In Harvard Heights, the Victorian has been used for decades as a sober living home. 11 people living on the property now, said Earl Lee, the 76-year-old manager, who's been there since the mid-90s. State and city laws require Joe to offer relocation benefits and housing in his new building to the existing tenants. He said he has no intention of displacing anyone who doesn't want to go. But city officials have questioned Joe's compliance with those laws and have told him to better inform the tenants of their rights. Lee said 8 residents, including him, have expressed interest in coming back to the new development, but the paperwork to prove income and other eligibility requirements to return is burdensome, he said, and some who had wanted to stay already left the home. You can fight it if you want, but most people just look for a different place, Lee said. Joe is pressing ahead with all his plans, even as roadblocks continue. Last month, the city council voted to deny his Sylmar project. Joe went to City Hall to speak at the meeting, reminding city leaders that they'd lost to him in court before. You will lose the case again, Joe said. I'm not going anywhere. Wow. Well, those are the extremes.
Somebody who's done his homework. Look, when the density bonus situation came up at the state level, I believe more than a decade ago, and it's evolved and it's become more loose. It's exactly what we called it. You know, there was too much leeway there. There were too many things that you could just, okay, I'm going to add a few affordable units, and now I can just scrap this, that, and that. It's too big of a pool to choose from. So do I think that pool should be smaller and more manageable? Yeah, I do. And I think some of his projects are a little out of scale. I'm not going to dispute that either. But all these excuses of, you know, crime and out of context with the neighborhood and, you know, changing the energy of our tranquil environment. Yeah. You know, this is all the NIMBY stuff that has gotten us where we are in the city. And you just can't have it both ways. That's the bottom line for me at this point. The hypocrisy of we support low income, we want cheap rents, cheaper housing, but I don't want you to build anymore. That doesn't work.
Near me.
Near me, exactly. As that guy said, of course, we support it all. We're good people. As long as you don't do it next to me, we're okay with it. Totally the case. So, in my experience in dealing with development, there's periodically people that seem irrational, but gosh, I mean, talk about a guy with some gusto who really knew his stuff. A whole community rejecting it at 7 stories. He came back with 8 stories. You know, in most cases,
he was negotiating for sure.
In most cases, you're better off working with a developer. You could also work to try to reduce the density bonus guidelines and create more restriction, put no effort into making it a cash purchase. That could have just been a paint job. So
Occidental something. Yeah. So it's definitely going to be a flip someday.
Yeah. So this is going to be a flip. It's going to be built out further. You can just from the aerial, I'm looking at photo 23 of 23. You can see the property to the right of it. You know, they've built out what looks like maybe 60-70% of the lot compared to this one.
Yeah.
So
it'll be a great one. And there's some nice bones here. I hope they keep some of that. That living room looks really nice.
I don't think so. I think it's all going, man.
Yeah.
I get it.
Okay.
I like the curb appeal too.
Yeah.
I mean, they could leave the front structure and build at the back.
Mm-hmm.
That is possible, I guess. But
yeah. Well, cool. It'll be $2 million house someday. Okay. Well, great. Let's go ahead and run off to your actives, and we're done. Let's see.
Sure.
Right. All right. What do you got out there?
5012 Range View Avenue.
Is that 2 words, Rangeview, or 1?
Yep, 2 words.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Right. Oh, oops. Bear with. Oops. Wrong way. Okay. All right. 5012 Rangeview Avenue. This is Highland Park. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,828 square feet of living space. Wow. At a price of $1,049,000. Open is today, 12 to 2. That's not opportune. 6 days on the market so far, and this is brought to us by Colette Stevens of 818, and then Rachel Stevens of 646, all the way from New York. I think it's New York. So yeah, what do you think, man? You like the street, right?
I do like the street. I like a lot about this. I think some of the things are a little hokey, but it's a good size house, a good location. The interior is nice. It's got a nice deck off the back. It's got an open yard, detached garage. It's got a lot going for it. I do think it's underpriced. I think it's probably going to go up a couple $100,000.
Yeah, very easily.
Yeah, it's a great spot. It'll sell fast.
Cool. All right. Let's see. What else do you have out there?
1405 Silver Lake Boulevard.
Silver Lake. Right? Oh, sorry. All right. Okay, 1405 Silver Lake Boulevard. This is Silver Lake, right? 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,371 square feet of living space. Great price, $999,000. 4,595 square feet of lot, and open on, is that Saturday? That is Sunday, 1 to 4 a.m. it's saying. So I think that's p.m. Days on market, 7. Brought to us by Stephen Hill out of the 310. So congrats to him.
Yeah. Underpriced, move-in ready, ugly curb appeal. No effort put into that whatsoever. A buyer could benefit from the lack of effort here to get this sold. But good location, amazing price, and it could become a great house. That's the front of the property. Yeah, it's terrible. But it could be beautiful. That's, it's a buyer opportunity.
Well, I can tell you, when you said Silver Lake Boulevard, I was like, oh gosh. At least the good news here is it's back from the street. Maybe that helps.
Yeah, sure. The noise on the ones that are right up at the street are tough. For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good one. Yeah, ugly tile in the bathroom. Let's fix that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
I have one more that, again, I'm not impressed with this one, but it's one of the reasons I want to bring it up. 2127
Okay.
Valentine Street.
Okay. Right. Oh, yeah, not pretty. Okay. Okay, 2127 Valentine Street. That's Echo Park. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,473 square feet of living space. Wow. Whopping 1,758,000. 5,800 square foot lot. Open this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 4 p.m. Days on market, 3. And this is brought to us by Meredith McLean of the 310. So there you go.
This is a great street. It's a pool
Mm-hmm.
home, which can be hard to find.
Got it.
At this price point, I would have wanted to have seen some more property prep,
Uh-huh.
some minimizing, paint the
Mm-hmm.
outside. You know, if you look at the other houses we were looking at, it doesn't mean everything
Yeah.
has to be upgraded, but it does
Right.
mean you're going to maximize what's there and make it
Yeah.
look the best it can. This has a lot
Yeah.
of positive things going for it. I don't know if they'll get this price, but my feeling is if they put some more effort and 25,000 into this, they would get this price,
Yeah.
and maybe
Yeah.
more. So
Yeah. I think that's a
curious
pretty
to follow
aggressive
this.
price. Yeah, pretty aggressive price. It looks like a fairly recent agent, so yeah, maybe she just doesn't have the experience, maybe, or the influence to have this owner get
Sure.
some of these things done. Yeah.
It's a tough conversation, man, to look at an owner and talk about remodeling their space.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, great. We will continue that. I guess that's it from our side, huh?
Yeah.
We're good. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us once again every Thursday, 2 p.m. or anytime you'd like. Like, follow, support. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next week. You take care.
Bye.
Bye now.